Trapping a Skunk, October 17th, 2011. I thought he was a goner, but the little shit came back. A few weeks ago, I told a little story about a visitor who had made his home under our home. Normally not a problem. I also mentioned that I thought I had locked him out by closing the door under the veranda to our crawl space. But I was wrong. Anyhow, long story short, I did actually manage to close the access under the house in such a way that the skunk could not get back under. Not that he didn't try. In fact, several times he tried digging under the skirting to get back into his nice warm home for the winter. Yes, he came back early every morning and took up residence under the veranda. Not ideal, mind you, but I assume he thought it was better and safer than having to look for a new home in the forest, what with all those scary animals out there. Last Thursday, Marg phoned and told me that she could smell the skunk again and asked me to pick up a live trap at Fish and Wildlife in Edson. I did, brought it home and baited it with half a can of sardines. Set the trap to see what would happen. Of course, before actually setting the trap, I learned how to open it so that if I was able to catch it, I would also be able to release it without harming it. I know I could have just put the skunk and trap in the creek and it would drown in a couple of minutes, but somehow I felt sorry for the little critter. Well, tonight Marg could hear a lot of rattling by the veranda, so I went out and checked, and sure enough, the trap had released and I had an animal inside. I put on coveralls, rubber boots, just in case, as I remembered that Cat Barry's Duke got sprayed last week. It's now dark, so I took a flashlight, a tarp to cover the trap, set it in the back of the pickup, and drove way out into Crown Land to release the little black and white fella. Lifted the trap with all its contents carefully out of the pickup and walked with it about 50 meters ahead of the truck, using the headlights to see where I was going. Keeping the plastic tarp over the trap, I carefully felt through the plastic to release the locking mechanism and pulled the door up into the open position and locked it in place with the release, which is used to set the trap. I back away, slowly pulling the tarp with me, planning to pull it up and use as a protective barrier in case the skunk decides to stop and spray in my direction. I pull the tarp all the way and bang! The release trigger lets go, and the door snaps shut, with the skunk still inside. Okay, let's try this again. Tarp over the trap, carefully open the door, lock the trigger back, lift the tarp gently, and nothing. The skunk doesn't want to come out. At this point, I don't know which of the two of us are more afraid, me of getting sprayed or him heading out into the open door with another disaster of some kind, so he chooses to stay inside the trap. Now I have to become more aggressive, while holding the door open with one hand so that the trigger doesn't release the door. I start lifting the back end of the trap at such an angle that I know the skunk will eventually slide down the slippery plastic surface and out the door. I get the back end up to about a 45-degree angle and the skunk starts to slide out the door, tail up. I drop back, fall down flat, and the skunk saunters off into the deep grass. I don't know which of us is more relieved, but there was no spray in my direction and no weapon coming at him from my direction. All in all, a good night for both of us.